you doing here? Okay, back with another live stream. FYI, YouTube channel. I don't know if they're doing it to everybody, but well, they're getting ready to. Evidently, I won't go off into too big of a sidetrack, but anyway, if you stream with OBS Studio like I do, then you got a stream key you got to put in there. Well, they changed mine today, but they also, I clicked on my same link I have, to go to edit my, my video titles and all that stuff. Well, it took me to what I finally figured out is still the beta version, but it must be getting ready to make that the live version because I had to go around in circles to figure out what was going on. But I edited my videos earlier, a couple of videos in that version, and then I thought, I guess that's it. But then when I went to do my live stream, everything in OBS Studio said I was streaming, but I always monitor my live stream, a good thing, for safety on my laptop over here, and I was not live. So I had to go around and figure that out. I made a couple of videos. I always make backup videos, so I had videos. So I'll probably upload those later. But let's get to, let me check and make sure my sound and everything's working. Okay, so yeah, everything looks good. I even have a nice screen stream. Only odd thing is my laptop is back to, it starts out at -1 hour. How did I do not remember how I fixed that last time. Maybe it was in a Firefox update. I thought it had something to do, you would think it would have something to do with YouTube's live preview page, but it didn't do it on this machine over here, this Lenovo i5. But that's domain 8, and it doesn't update as often as fast as this one does. This one, every time there's an update, it just automatically installs because I have it set to do that. So anyway, let's get to what I want to do. I've got a new ISO to test from Adrian, the developer of Rescatux. I always say that wrong because that's the way that's the way it is in my mind. I don't care how hard I try, I can't change that. My mind works the way it works. Anyway, the website is actually supergrubdisk.org, and Rescatux is two main things. Is supergrubdisk and Rescatux, and I did finally ask him the other day how come he named it that way, and let me see if I can say it right. It's he lives in Spain, but he's I've talked to him. Well, he got to join me in a video, so he can speak English and Spanish, and of course he spoke English to me because that's all I know. And anyway, that's got to do with Spanish. It's Rescatux or something like that. No, well, he wrote it out D-Linux. Resca, like this. I'm starting to remember. Resca D, which if I believe, I am born and raised in Texas, so I'm familiar with Spanish. I just never learned Spanish. It's hard enough for me to remember my English words, but known a lot of Spanish-speaking people over the years. Of course, that's a different version of Spanish, over here than it would be in Spain. But anyway, Resca D, and he said Linux. He didn't say Tux, which Tux is there's Tux right there. That's the mascot of Linux. And a lot of people just interchange. I don't know, a lot of people just interchange Tux with Linux a lot, or they just like the Tux. They think it's cute or whatever. So, well, there it is right there. RESCA Tux. So when he wrote it out like the way they would do in Spanish, it was Resca D, and he put Linux. I don't know if he was just trying to do that so I'd understand it, but he didn't say D-Tux, he said D-Linux. But we were texting back and forth, in chat. So anyway, not knowing any Spanish, I couldn't understand it to save my life. What's the A in there for? Why isn't it Rescatux? And my brain, I don't care how many times I tell my brain things like that. I don't care how many times I tell myself. My brain will do what it will do. So, and also my eyes skip letters and numbers. They swap letters and numbers. So I have a hard enough time as it is just with, plain old English. But So sorry, Adrian, I say your name of your thing wrong. I mean, it's your thing. You can name it whatever you want, but uh, it is hard for me. Okay, so he sent me a new. I tested a one ISO. Let's go over here to my desktop. Go over here in my file manager. Now I tested this one last time. Now this time I've got another one. He added a feature he wants me to check out. So I'm going to. I've already downloaded it, and it's a website. I guess I've never actually heard of this one. Maybe I've heard of it, but I never used it. It's called GUI Transfer, where you can transfer big files to people for. Evidently, it's free. Well, it's free. I mean, yeah, he said it was free. He didn't have to pay, and I know I didn't have to pay. So I'm going to unpack it in the same directory because I know what to expect. It's not going to be a whole bunch of files, like sometimes I like to make a new directory if especially don't don't unpack it to your desk. I wouldn't unpack it to your desktop, or definitely don't unpack it to your home directory. I've done that by accident, and then you end up with there we go. I was going to say, where's the MD5 file? So now we've got an ISO and an MD5 checksum file, and I like to keep that directory so I can see my backup video being made to make sure it's not lost in case sometimes the stream goes down and comes right back up. Sometimes it goes down and doesn't come back up, so I might have to upload the backup video. So I downloaded I don't remember what it's called, but yeah, GTK hash. So that application searcher always saves me. Okay, so it's an easy way to do this. And I'm going to go find this file. And let's see. I've already forgotten how you do it. Yeah, you can't do but one file, so I think I want the MD5 file. No, I did it wrong. I want the ISO file, and then in here, oh yeah, you can't just, that's a different kind of a extra kind of thing. You have to, I used to use these all the time on Fedora 14, but some of them are not available anymore. And anyway, there's one I used to use. I need to go find it and see if it's still available. So what you can do is, like in Crusader, you can hit View, or you're going to open it up in a text editor one way or the other. Now you got to manually copy and paste this in there. That's, something I don't care for, but it's not hard to do. Now, do hash. It does more than MD5. It does SHA1 and 256 as well. So whoops, I was just closing that. If you just double click on that MD5 file, you might say it doesn't know what to open it up with. One thing I really like about it, little green buttons. There's no way I could compare that with my eyes, the way they swap letters and numbers. No way I compare any of that. You can kind of say, okay, well, they don't have the same sums anyway. Each file has its own sum, but I guess the sum, okay, MD5, what did he send us? He sent me an MD5, okay. You see, it has different numbers on the end, but then what I pasted in there, and what I was trying to say is, the way you browse the file manager and get your ISO, that is the way you could do it both, the checksum and the ISO and a lot of these other graphic checksum applications. But anyway, and if you needed to know the other sums, there they are right there. And you can do it in the command line, but he did send me some commands after I'd already downloaded this and done this. So this is a lot quick and easy for me. I'm used to doing it with the commands in Fedora because they have the exact commands for the exact files and everything on their website. But with something that, well, this is based on Debian, but it's of course his own mix. So anyway, the green dot shows that So the reason I'm him-hawing around is because I expected I was going to look at the last few numbers and say, okay, they should match, but they don't match. But the green dots tell me that they're good because I ran it. I got mixed up about how to do it the first time I did it, and I had a red and a green dot. So that tells you it's not good. So it's good. The reason you want to do this, number one, it helps you tell if the file had gotten infected along the way before you got it, and it also tells you, like say you trust the source. I'm not worried about what Adrian sent me, but if it got corrupted during the download, especially during the zipping and all that process going through this third party website, so it's good. And excuse me. So I'm going to go ahead and get into, I think I'll go ahead and close the browser because I really just wanted to show who I was getting it from and everything. And what I'm going to do is put it on a USB stick. I need to put that in there right now. So I'm going to get a USB stick that actually has something on it, but it will erase it here in a minute. So now I actually just in the last month or so figured out that I don't think Fedora Media Writer used to do this on WorkWrite with non-Fedora ISOs, but it does now. I've been using it a lot lately. So I'm going to use Fedora Media Writer. That did that because I plugged in my USB stick and it just happened to. I got part of magic on it. I don't want to do anything with it. But I do want to use Fedora Media Writer. Now it's opened up. Now it says you inserted the SanDisk Cruiser pattern. Contains a live system. Do you want to restore it to factory settings? Which is a childish way to say, as if we were a child and didn't understand anything. I can't help it. I'm sorry. They used to explain things. Most of what I learned about Linux is through Fedora, and they used to explain things actually how they worked. And yeah, some of it's complicated, but if you don't understand actually how things work, you can really get into serious trouble. And then you're going to hate, Fedora or Linux or everything because it screwed up your computer and ruined your drives and everything. Lost your Windows operating system, which is what I came from and what most everybody comes from back in 05 myself. So anyway, what it's going to do is format it to FAT32. And why I say it's not even reformatting it to factory settings, because when you buy of course, my brain don't remember all the right words and the names, but when you buy a new, SD card, or this is a USB stick, the flash memory device of some sort, then they don't put FAT32 on them very often anymore. Most of them are going to come with, I can't remember. I'd have to look. I want to say XFS, which happens to be what they're using on Fedora 29 now. I noticed. I don't think that's it either. It depends. If it's kind of like made for Microsoft products, it's going to be, let's see. I'd have to go look in the, so anyway, I'm going to do it. I just did it. Do you want to reclaim this space? I'll read them out to make sure I'm not screwing up, and I'll make sure you've got to see, I've got an 8 terabyte and a 5 terabyte backup, USB backup in there. So if you do those, you lose all your backups if you have something like that. Or the Fedora Media Writer, I don't think it'll even let you select your hard drives. A lot of the older ones, and like Booten, will let you select whatever drive you want. And there is times when you might want to do a hard drive, but not your operating system or your backups. So reclaim the space. This has to be restored to its factory settings. The live system and all saved data will be deleted. This is where you got to pay that's why you got to pay attention. You don't need to restore the live drive if you want to write another live image to it. Do you want to continue? Now, I took that to heart, that second sentence there. You don't have to do it if you want to write another live image to it. And I thought, well, there's enough space here. I think I'll just keep them both on there. Maybe it'll dual boot. No, it didn't. It joined them together. Two Fedoras, too. Joined them together and so that it was just a buggy live system that wouldn't work right. So that is not actually true, unless maybe in some case, I don't know, it wasn't true with me, and that was with Fedora ISOs. So that's why I get cranky about this every time I use it. There's things about it. It also goes nuts, and like if you go in, let me close this. If you go in another window, it's liable to go away and look like you're out of video memory. I like to make everything full screen when I'm using it, but sometimes that makes it whack out. So for all its goodness, it's got some badness in it too. And I'm just, that's just things I don't like I'm talking about right now, but there's some functional things that are not so good. You can, and I won't go into it, but if you want Fedora, you can use these, but I want a custom image. And there's 3 dots, like as if you were on your phone. There's all the spins down there. And like I said, I'm afraid to make it full screen, so I won't do that. But I'm going to do the custom image. That's how you do, it could be Fedora. It could be, I usually use that because I usually already have my Fedora ISOs loaded. But I'm going to do this Rescatux image, so there we go. Now, make sure you see that it's going to the right drive. And I'm not going to even move that, but that's where you could select other drives. But that's the right drive. So I'm going to say write to disk. Now I'm going to put in my root password. So you do have to intentionally do this. You won't, at least you can't destroy your system without realizing what the heck you're doing at all. If you're running Fedora, you should know that if you're putting in your root password, you're doing something that's serious. That it may be the safest thing I can think of that you'd put in your root password for is just updates. Which, if that's the only thing you ever do, then maybe you wouldn't think so much about it. Take it as seriously, but most other things you can't harm your system. If you're in the command line, you put in your root password, do SU and put in your root password, then from then on, the commands you run could possibly, depends on what you run, or could possibly destroy your system, or at least damage it. But on a small ISO image like this, it doesn't take too long. If you're doing a 3 gigabyte, you'll probably be like me and you'll want to go off and do other things while it's working. And if you do, and if this screen gets all wonky and you can't even hardly see anything, but maybe you get, like it's happened to me because I'll be making my video and I'll go off and do other things. If I switch off this screen and come back, I'll probably it'll look like a machine that's low on video memory and nothing's working right. And I thought maybe I'm having trouble, but it wasn't. I went because I always monitor my system resources, and I've seen this happen several times just in the last month. And I thought that had all been fixed because it used to do it when I first in Fedora 23 it didn't work. Fedora 28 it worked again, but it seemed great. And then but this is still Fedora 28, and then it got wonky. Now the red button draws me in to click on it, but that says delete download image. So you got to read. Don't go by colors like I do sometimes. You just want close, unless you want to delete that image, but I don't want to do that. I want to keep them because I might need them again. Okay, so I'm done with that. And now I'm going to go ahead. It's always a good idea to check what you've done to see if it looks like it worked. So I'm going to unmount it first. Don't just unplug, especially in Fedora, probably domain too. I'm going to right click, and that's another partition on that drive that doesn't ever go away. So I unplugged it and plugged it back in, so it does the whole thing. And I don't like that file manager anyway, so I don't want to use I don't like the default. Now see there, now it's Rescatux. And so I'm going to go over here, and I'm just going to look around the file system. As soon as I find it, there it is. See, it's 648 megabytes, not too big. And just see if it's not like, you have to know everything about what's going to be in there. But if it looks basically, if you've seen them before, you kind of get the idea. See, there's your kernels and stuff, and there's something. See, the extension looks like. I don't know if it'll come up there. Well, yeah, kind of. But see, that's because there's extra dots in the file name, so it takes usually the last dot it sees and thinks that's the file extension. Well, some files don't even actually have an extension. Like IMG, that is the file extension, but that is not a file extension, I don't believe. But anyway, sometimes they're really not. It'll really get confusing if you're trying to. Oh, I got out of my spot. Okay, Rescatux-7. Boot grub. See if it's grub on there, and that's what. By the way, I never said that's what Rescatux is for repairing broken grub boot system and Windows. Let's see, and it can even do some file recovery, partition recovery if you've damaged your hard drive somehow. And this little U3, that's that thing that doesn't come off of this particular drive. That's not going to be on most of your USB sticks. That's just some Windows, portable Windows apps that came with it, and I've tried to delete that little partition, and I've even deleted it, but it actually can't put itself back somehow. There's something in the firmware of that USB stick that does that. But sorry. So now, and see, there's my backup drives I was talking about. There and there. So I'm going to get out of there so that I won't be on that to where I could accidentally delete something. So now I'm going to safely remove or eject. Now, see, it said it couldn't stop it. It does that, and on this particular drive because of those two partitions. And sometimes you can do one. Like I say, I did that other one first. Maybe it would have worked without giving that error, but it doesn't hurt anything. But never can. I just can't remember which one should work, even if one of them does. It seems to me that I've tried it both ways, and one time it works and one time it doesn't. So I'll go ahead and get on cams 1 and 2 because that's how I'm going to do it, and I don't want to forget. Now, I don't have my other mic. I've been having trouble with my lapel mic cutting in and out. So, one, point at my monitor because what I'm going to do, and the one that's pointing at me, I'm going to turn it over here on my Acer laptop, which has been my server for at least a couple of weeks now, maybe longer, ever since. That's what I was working on when Adrian started commenting on my videos and started helping me. And then, we chatted back and forth and ended up being able to help him by testing some of this. I was using Rescatux, and that's when he commented, And so anyway, we've been continuing to kind of help each other out. So he helped me get that laptop up and going, and now it's my server. And I was trying to use an SD card in it, and that just ended up not working. But he told me a trick on the hard drive, which is a great trick so far. You don't know with it's an aging hard drive, and it's failing its self-test. And every time I would try to format it with I could format it with, whatever file system. FAT32 is usually what I put on it. And I could write some files for a while, and then all of a sudden it would start giving I/O errors and getting corrupted file rights. But if you try to install an operating system, then it would go all the way almost to the end and then fail. The Vane or Linux or Fedora Linux, whatever. But he told me a trick of move the beginning of your first partition up 10 or 20 megabytes, and I just went ahead and went 20, and because that's where the drives typically get worn out first, and that's where they get their most errors. So I did, and it installed, and it's running without. And I haven't written any more files to it or done anything other than, I put my website on there, which is about 1.5 gigabytes, I think, or 2.5. I think it's 1.5. Anyway, and then it's just been running, and might have it probably reboots. I have it set to do automatic updates, so if there's every night at about 3 a.m. it will reboot itself. I forgot about that. I was thinking maybe I should reboot it, but I don't need to do that. It'll do it itself. From what I gather, it does that every time. Fedora server. This is Fedora 29 server, and I've been running Fedora server ever since it came out. Fedora 20, it was Fedora 23. I've built servers on my Fedora. I have right now my website. The reason I'm able to do this right now, I'm fixing to put this in there and boot up to it because I have my web server, Apache web server, on my old Fedora 14 system, which I did all that manually before they came out with the server distro. And now it's kind of more of my backup box and my old faithful, because it's got apps that aren't even available anymore. but I just turn it on when I need it. So I turned it on a while ago and forwarded my website over to that machine with my router. And so now the I'm getting my names of machines mixed up. The Acer is still running, but it's it's not online as if my web server online that way. Okay, so I'm going to put this part of Magic in the USB slot and reboot it, and then we're going to watch and see what this new feature is. Because Adrian said to just do that with with the monitor hooked up to it. And by the way, this one has a broken screen, so you can only see like the top left corner that shows up anything. So I'll get up there, and I won't be on mic until I set back down because, like I said, my lapel's not working right, so I didn't even hook it up. So. Trick with my camera, it worked perfectly. This time it's not going to say, not stated. There, you probably can't hear me, but okay. Now I got magazines in front of there because the light bothers me. Now, there's our broken screen. Now, I'm just going to power it down, and let's see. Yeah, my back's in the way right now, but I'm going to power it down with the power button and then turn it back on. I think it's powering itself down now. Okay, now I'll turn it back on. And hurry up and get my KVM switch over there on it. There we go. I got lucky. Yeah, that way you will see it when it comes up. I don't know if it's booting though. Might not have got it turned on. Let me look and see. I think it's just taking a little longer to come up than I expected. Yeah, it's on port 1, or is it oh, I'm on the wrong port. It's on port 4. So I didn't get lucky. I got confused. And we might see, yeah, there we go. It was getting ready to auto boot. Luckily I caught it in time. Yeah, it had a 30-second delay, which was good for me. Okay, so there's auto, AMD64, AMD64 failsafe, 686 Rescatux, 686 failsafe, and then some advanced options. Since we're stopped here, what do we got? Hardware detection tool and memtest x86. A couple of tools there. Let's just do auto and see what it does. I think that's probably what he might have intended for me to do anyway. So I'm just going to hit enter on auto. That would be the thing that most people would do, well, I guess. People who are running this, well, it might be somebody who's pretty into Linux and everything, or it might be somebody who just installed Linux and broke their boot and they found out about this and they want to fix it. So I'm trying to figure out how I can't really see the screen too good up there with it being all broken. Let's see that there's I'm trying to look at my preview on the computer, on my laptop. I can actually kind of tell what's delayed though. Oh, there we go. Okay, so it came, oh, there we go. Cool. I think that's what he wanted me to see. I think it worked. It's kind of off to the, so the Rescatux open. It didn't open up on the laptop screen where I can't see it. It opened up. I think it opened up over here on my monitor, on my VGA monitor, cable. VGA cable plugged into the laptop going over here to my monitor. So it opened up here on that side. Now, the last time I ran the other one and tested it, the version 6 point whatever, I wanted to do remote desktop and I couldn't because I couldn't control it. I knew there had to be some keyboard shortcuts, but I didn't think of keyboard shortcuts. Anyway, I couldn't control it because I couldn't see the menus, because the menus are at the bottom left. Well, the only thing I can see on that laptop screen, as you can see in the video, you can't see that very good, but the only thing you can see is the I could have made that. I didn't think about darkening that camera down, but the top left that is actually all white to you, I see that in my preview, that is readable. And I could fix that, but yeah, before I go any further, I see this other that I drug over. You may have seen me dragging something around there on the, I know you can't see it very good. Let's see if it comes up any better over there. Anyway, it says monitor settings. So that's the feature, I'm sure. This was not there before. So the monitor settings are the feature. They kind of were over half in each screen when it popped up here on my machine, but that's easy enough to drag it. Just click in where the title is and you can drag it around. So I'm just pulling it around to try to see if there's a place it would show up better to the video. And I've got that one set as good as I can set it, and I can't stop it from being blurry because I don't have any real cameras. I just have phones, and that digital zoom gets blurry when you zoom in. And I can't set it any closer because I would have to be sitting in my chair. I can't hold the camera. I can't hold still. So let's see. Set the position. LVDS1, which is evidently the monitor screen because the other one is VGA1. So that's pretty cool. Now I think what I'll do is go ahead and click on it. Yeah, and it sees the size of my monitor. It's all preset just right. There's an advanced. You can change the hertz if you need to, the refresh rate, information about your monitor. So it's just a real cool little. Now I'm going to hit. I think it shows up worse down there where I have it. Put it up above Tux's head. I don't know if that'll make much difference, but. And I'm going to hit apply. Are the current settings okay for you? Well, I haven't seen them yet. I'm going to say okay. It didn't bring all the menus over. Let's see, the settings button on the bottom left doesn't do anything. The Rescatux menu was kind of cut off, so I just wanted to get it to where I could see everything. Let's see, monitor settings, LVDS. Okay, this is my primary. Oh, well, I didn't ever. Okay, LVDS is your primary, which is I can tell is in the position. Oh, okay. I think maybe if in the position you might be able to. Yeah, you can drag them over. Oh, you can move them around. You can put them where you want them in relation to each other. I don't necessarily want to change that. I like the laptop on the left and the VGA on the right. Okay, that's cool though. And be careful and don't close that window until you're done, or you won't be able to do anything. Okay, this is my primary. The VGA says this extends to the other display. Now I can make this one my primary. Let's see if I can make clone. No, there's no option to clone them. So, but that's fine. So I'm going to make the VGA my primary. That's what I didn't do. I just wasn't paying attention. Okay, do I like that? Yes, now I have all my menus and everything. I'm going to hit save too, just to make sure, but apply did it. Now, since that's really cool, I want to see if I can get, now that I have the whole system, now what I was trying to do before that I couldn't do, because I couldn't see the menus on the computer, to control the applications and everything. And I'm going to minimize those, just leave them running, but minimize them so they won't be in the way. I want to, let's see. I don't think there's, I want to set up remote desktop. He had me do it in the current version, the one that's, that you can download from the website when we were talking live with Skype, but I'll have to go get the commands because I don't remember them. Let's see what we got. I want to make sure he didn't add remote desktop in here too, as already ready to go. I didn't think it would be there. Okay, so what I'll need to do though, but there is Firefox, and he sent me the link to the page with the instructions over excuse me, over some file sharing site. I don't remember the address of it either, but or text sharing site. But what I've always done is I just email myself in Gmail, and but I'll have to get my password and do all that stuff. Actually, I think I've already sent it to myself, so just for such an occasion. So let me go ahead and log in. I gotta get my information out here. Okay. Next. And looks like it worked. So I'm not going to save it in this. It wouldn't stay there since it's a live system, but okay, now if I don't have it, I can go get on my machine and send it to myself, but I think I already did that. And just like the way Google changed up the organization of our videos, they also changed up the organization of, just when I thought I can't stand webmails. I just don't like the way they work, and I don't. But then Google decided to organize it in a better way, and now I can't find anything. So I only use it for things like this. Okay, let's see. There is one good thing. It has a good search. Let's see. Okay, I might need to. Well, let me just keep looking here. I think I found it. Okay, let's see. Remote desktop. Yeah, here it is. Here's how to set it up from this. Oh, there was a problem that we had to fix. I don't know if this is, I think, the original page. I just emailed it to myself. Let's see. But I'm going to set up X11 VNC on here, and this is for Ubuntu, and this is on Debian. So Ubuntu is based on Debian. I think what I'll do is search. I guess I could have. So Yeah, let's stay in the inbox. I'm not sure what happens when you search mail. X11 VNC. Maybe might be one with the exact command, exact commands for this machine. I'm not sure though when you search, I was saying how it divides things up. Not sure if it searches all of the categories or see there's primary, social, promotions, updates. I have no idea. Let's see, forums, promotions. Some of these are, I use Thunderbird. I hardly ever get in this. Okay, so that seems to be, yeah. I'm not seeing another email. I thought maybe I would have updated it with a note telling me how to make sure I fix that problem, not just, okay. Yeah, the last time I installed X11 with Synaptic, that's right, I forgot about that. But you can do it with the commands too. And I'm not going to do the updates because that would take a good while. And I don't believe it's going to be necessary. I'll open up this. There's a quick link down at the bottom there for terminal. So that should be a good one to use. I saw there was two in the I could switch my let me get off of this double view. Just realized how much smaller that is. And yeah, I could have made that be able to see that screen better, but now there's no point in any of that. I'm just going to get like this, so now the only thing you see is the camera on the monitor, since it's not good as it is. Oops, wrong one. Let's see. Okay. I don't understand why the monitor settings. Okay. When you go to different desktops, it doesn't actually. Even if you click on one of these, there's two desktops on here, which I like using multiple desktops, but it's not actually. I see where it says terminal, but it won't come up. Oh, it must be over there. Yeah, it's over there on the laptop. So I could have showed that. It opened up over there on the laptop. What I can do, though, I can see the laptop. And I can drag it over here. There we go. It just wouldn't want to play nice. For some reason, the terminal didn't want to play nice. Okay, so I usually like to have it. I don't think I'll make it full screen because I want to be able to see, but maybe that'll be big enough. So I'm copying and pasting sudo apt-get install X11 VNC. Since this is his Debian system that he set up, paste selection, paste clipboard. There we go. Different kind of right-click menu that I'm used to. I remember he told me last time you don't have to put in you don't have to have no password needed in this live session here. Sudo will give you the root privilege, enough root privileges, sudo root privileges, almost root privileges. That's what I always say. Now I guess I better read that. It's going to do several apps, including X11 VNC. Where's the X11 VNC app? X11 VNC data. Anyway, I'm going to say yes. I'm not going to try to read all that. Working nice and fast. Oh yeah, I figured out this Acer laptop has a gigabit onboard Ethernet. I figured it out not too long ago. So that's great. And it's and I have gigabit routers, and I have 200 megabits down and 10 up, which I wish I had a lot more up. But but for you know, it's noticeably faster than anything that's 100 megabits. You know, because see, if it had 100 megabits, then I wouldn't get my full internet connection with 200 megabits downloads. So, okay, so it didn't give out any success. Like in Fedora, it usually says, okay, it's finished and succeeded. It just went back to the command prompt. So that means it's done, though. Okay, now we need to create a password for the client to use to log in. So it's X11 VNC store password. That's not exactly it, but I'm not going to paste clipboard. Make sure I didn't get any extra spaces in there. Okay. Now, home user VNC password. Now, we had a problem with the address. Maybe he straightened that out. Because it was saying, do you want to store it to home user VNC.VNC password or PSSWD? I'm going to go over here. I don't know if that works. Let's just, I want to open up the file manager and make sure that that is where home user is. That's what I'm doing. So home user, yeah. Okay, that should be good because it had something real funky when we did it last time. So I think I'll leave that open for right now. Yeah, I don't want you full screen. Normally I would, but not this time. Okay, back over here on the terminal. Yes. Okay, now. Oh, there's that thing. But it says password written to home user VNC password. Now in those instructions it says write password to home Raul.vnc, which I don't know what the heck Raul would be. I don't know if that's how Ubuntu is set up. I thought Ubuntu, I've used it before on and off over the years. I thought it used the same basic layout, but and then password written to home Raul, it wasn't the commands we ran, it was the output, and we just didn't notice. I didn't notice it for darn sure. I was talking to him and just trying to keep track of everything and run it. We were having so much trouble with Skype, couldn't understand each other, and so I was really going in circles. But anyway, now after the successful installation, let's start using the following command. Change parameters as per setup. X11 auth password guest loop. Repeat. Oh, here's that long command. Yeah. Okay. This is where we got in trouble last time. We have to change this. It's a long command that tells you that's going to start it up. Change the parameters as per your setup. It tells you right there to change it as per your setup. So I guess this example is Raul is the user's name of the the machine they were doing this on. So for me it'd be Dawn, home Dawn. So yeah, okay, now it makes sense. So but I'm going to have to paste that in there and then make sure and change Raul to just user in this live system. That's what I need to do. Okay. So yeah, doing this in the live system, unless you know all these, commands out of your own head. Is it USR or USER? I think it's USER. Let me look. Yeah, USER. In some places in your Linux file system, it'll be user bin. It's USR bin. Okay. Now it's up and running. You have tried the X11 VNC. Have you tried the X11 VNC Nash VNC client? Okay. Feature yet? Nope. So that might be something to look into at some point. Let's see. Scheme stores pixel data off screen on the VNC viewer side for faster retrieval. Oh, okay. It should work with any VNC viewer. Try it by running X11 VNC Nash 10. Okay, one can also add Nash. So. Anyway, the last time it ran really well. Let's see. And then the next thing is connect from a VNC client. Now let's see what our IP is on this machine. Where is the icon? That must be it right there. No, that's not it. Maybe that is it. Let's see. Wired. Okay. Wired. Okay. Service details. Okay. Let's see if we can get our IP address that way. Did it open up over yonder again? I think it opened up on there. Yeah, so one thing you still have to pay attention to is where do things open up. Some of them are going to open up over there on the laptop screen, but you can get them. I have just enough screen left to get over there and grab it and drag it over. Okay, it's 192.168.0.182. The Wi-Fi is not even on, which is good. I don't want it taking over anything. Okay. So we don't need that. Getting to where I've got quite a bit open. You got to leave that terminal running though. I will leave the Firefox open until I'm sure I'm connected and everything's okay. Okay, now I can get back on my machine. 182. And I should be able to connect. I'll go to the desktop, and I'm going to use my favorite remote desktop viewer. It's called Vinegary, and I've been on this. I think I was on it. Yeah, the last thing I was on 182.50, and you want port 5900. That's the last thing I was on. So it's coincidentally. And type in your password that you gave it, and there we go. Now I'm going to tell it to fit to my screen. I think. Yeah, I think I'll tell it to fit to my screen, and then you can either use this button, but you still need to know. Like look at here under View and see what the short screen. Different ones have different keyboard shortcuts to go in and out of full screen. Some of them you'll like. One of them it's a real nice viewer, but it takes like Control Alt something. Well, this one's just F11. So now we'll be full screen. Oh, I see why it's so weird, because we got two screens. Well, that's weird. Not used to that. Maybe it's just because I don't do laptops very much, but I don't know. Let's try this, because I want it to be bigger. Hit the wrong key. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So no, I don't like having to page over, but yeah, now you see this is what's on the laptop screen since I moved everything over. And so it was the reverse, you didn't have any control over anything. But since Adrian added the ability, have that automatically pop up so that you can select I just paged all the way over to the right, and so you can't see everything, but you can. It's kind of, you see, because of that little blue bar at the bottom, it kind of cuts off the bottom, but that's not a big deal. Okay, so this was the page I was using. If you ever want to know that, let's see. Oops, when I clicked on it, it jumped back to the left. I was afraid it might act kind of funky. Okay, so here's the address of it. Let's see if we can just go there. And so you can see, yeah, it's at techadmin.net, and it's how to set up this one. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of others, but this does work in Rescatux. How to set up X11 VNC Server on Ubuntu and Linux Mint and Debian, which is the granddaddy of both of those. They're both built on Debian. So, or the papa or the mama, or however you want to say it. Okay, so now let's get to the menu, the new feature. Now that's the file browser, and that was how I made sure that user was what it's /home user. That's how I made sure what I needed to change that one command to. And this is the Resc app, or SCAPP. There's a terminal window that's running. They're not separating. I tried to separate things off into the two different desktops, but they're not happening. So I'm just going to minimize the Resc app, but I'm not gonna run it this time. He said he wasn't interested in seeing. He knows it's not going to run. It's still not, doesn't support Fedora 29 and the ext4 file systems, and I think he's working on that. I'm not sure if he's gonna. Well, I won't say a lot because what his plans are, but I'm not sure exactly what they are. But right now I know it doesn't work because I tried it on this same laptop, and it wouldn't run. Wasn't able to mount the ext4 file system and install Grub. No, that was on my last video. Well, that was the previous version, but the only addition he's done, from what I understand, is this. This opens up, and I'll show you where it was. It was kind of like that, and the Resc app, I'll just show you how it was when the Resc app was up in here like that, and of course the terminal window wasn't there. And so all I had to do is just drag this. Now, some of those windows I was talking about before, they would open up in the let's go ahead and I can show you. That's one advantage. Okay, so now there's on the left with the this actually goes across both screens. Look at that. That kind of goes in. See, so they go into both screens, but see where it's black at the bottom? That's where the borders of the laptop screen is. So when I first opened it up, it was just about like that, and the Resc app was over here. Let's see, I think I can minimize that terminal and get it out of there. So it was kind of like that. And so, but luckily it popped up to where I could see it. Now when I opened up terminal earlier, it opened up kind of right in there. And so I could just see it on my broken screen. If you have a broken laptop screen and you're in a situation like this, and it depends on if any of it's working or how much of it's working, to whether or not you can still get by, because if you open up an app and it opens up over here like this. Something else I don't remember. There was two things I don't remember. Well, this is one I know for sure, but there was two things that opened up over there. Well, some desktops automatically make them, when you hit the top, they automatically go full screen. Then does kind of weird things like that. All I want is to put you back over here where I have you in my right place. Now let's go back to regular size so that everything is bigger and we can read it. Yeah, all I'm doing is just that blue bar at the bottom. See, that's everything is as big as it can get, 1080p, I guess you could say. And the blue bar, I don't want it to go away. I'm glad it's there, but it's kind of cutting off those, but I can still read them well enough to work. And I'm just leaving that up. Well, I'm leaving it up for this video, but now what I did was, this is my primary display. See, it was set on this screen extends the other display. And so then I hit apply, and then just to make sure I didn't lose it or anything, I hit save. When you hit, let's see, if you hit apply, it says, do you like it? You better go ahead and say yes, or it'll revert back to, that's what I figure it'll do. That's what it does in Fedora. Revert back to what you had before. This one here, the LVDS1, is the monitor on the display on the laptop, built into the laptop. It was set by default, and that's the way they most all laptops are. The only other thing that I see happen in Fedora, some Fedora distros, mixes, remixes, or whatever versions, like, you know, they have the different ways they call it, but anyway, like if you have XFCE desktop, it may work one way. If you have Mate desktop, which is the one I use, it may work another way. And then if you have the default Genome 3, then I don't use it at all, so I don't know what would happen. But in here, I think this is LXDE desktop, which is a nice lightweight desktop. And as you see, the menus are down at the bottom left by default. And and that's one thing that's nice about Fedora for me in this situation, is the menus are at the top left by default, so I can still navigate into Bane, which he built this Rescatux on. Like I said, let's see, LX image. I think it's LXDE. And there's the two terminals, Q terminal and Q terminal drop down. I guess that's that one where you, yeah, LXQ settings. So I'm pretty sure this is LXDE. I'm sure you could get somewhere and find that out, but let's see, system tools, preferences, Synaptic Package Manager. If you wanted to install anything and not have to do it in the terminal, this is the GUI Package Manager for the Bane. It's really great. It's way better than the DNF and Dragora and Fedora now, what they have right now. And it used to work in Linux in Fedora years ago, back in Fedora. I started Fedora 5, and I used it in Fedora. I discovered it at some point, used it all the way up to about Fedora. Well, I remember in Fedora 14 is when it really got to where it worked, but it was buggy, and then it got to where as the updates kept coming in over the years. I used it for years because I liked 14 so much. It got to where it just wouldn't work at all. What I was looking for, yeah, let's see, now that's monitor settings. You see, that's where the monitor settings are, and it may be in another place in there too. But getting to that would just not be possible without this feature he put in there. If you have this kind of situation, and maybe you just have a completely broken laptop screen or whatever, you know, it would be obvious. Goes with I'll say without saying, but obviously if that, I guess it's fine because it's fine that the monitor settings kind of is half and half in the middle, because that way you can pull it either way no matter what screen you're on. That's actually all right, because I was fixing to say it'd be nice if it popped up over here in this VGA, but then what if you don't even have the VGA? What if, well, can't exactly see why you would need it, you know, if your VGA wasn't working or if it wasn't plugged in or anything. Well, if it wasn't plugged in, it wouldn't go over there. It couldn't go over there. It's not there. But anyway, that's fine being in the middle, but just pay attention. You know what I'm saying? The way it started out like this, that's fine. It took me a second there to see it, but that's just fine. I can't think of a real good reason why you would need to, you know, work harder and put it over here. Like most things pop up like right in the middle like that. Of course, well, this didn't. It popped up over here or something like that, which is, you know, if they did pop up just something like that, that'd be great too for me. Now, I don't know about all other instances. See, when you're doing something like what he's doing, you got to think of many, many users and what they might run into. So, let's see. Yeah, but see, that's so fantastic, because to get to this monitor settings, you would have to be able to get all the way into here. And there's no way with my broken laptop screen, if you saw it a while ago, that I was going to be able to do that. So thanks, Adrian. That's really cool. Yeah, LXQT Settings Center. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's LXDE. That's another way to get into all the settings and everything. Of course, usually you don't mess with the settings in a live system, but it's still going to be there because it's excuse me, part of the Debian system. Gparted, that's a very handy tool for editing your partitions. Matter of fact, if they're just broken, you could use that to fix them, to repair them a lot of the times. Of course, the whole point of Rescap, there's if you ever close Rescap, go to Other, and there's Rescap. Close it and by accident, you know. But you can get to all those tools right here. I'll make it full screen so you can see more of it. I think I'm going to make it full screen. You know what? That was not there last time, and I was saying how I didn't like that. But it's, I wonder why it's not working now. It's there. But it had a different, I guess it had a different default theme or something. No, it wasn't a default theme. I don't know why it's not working though. Anyway, yeah, can't see it without paging up and down still. So even though it's there, it won't let you do it. Huh. Will it get big? No. See, like those other apps, they kept jumping to full screen even though I didn't want them to. That one doesn't do that. Yeah, I would really, really wish that that could be made full screen so you can see all the options and read the whole page. It's like trying to read a newspaper with it folded up. You keep having to flip it and flip it, try to figure out where the heck everything is. But there's a lot of tools, and I won't go over them because that's not really what this particular video is about. A lot of good tools you can get into Gparted in there and everything. But since I'm doing the remote, I finally got the remote desktop going on this again. I can really show everything, and I'm like, oh, let me show this, let me show that. And I was looking for X11 VNC Server. Oh, that's because I installed it. So you can start it from right there, evidently. Since I've already got it running, I don't want to open that up, and it might try to start it again and cause me some trouble, so I won't. But I would imagine I could have gone there and just started it up from right there, which is pretty cool. It might actually be easier than running that command. I made it would, because it was installed in the correct directory. I have to click on it. I just have to. Okay, here we go. Can't help it. So set the listening port. Oh, you could do, okay, so display O is on 5900, and that would be the laptop screen. Display 1 is on 5901 by default here. So I'm glad I opened that. So yeah, if all you wanted was, you wouldn't have the wide thing that we have right now. If you would have picked, see, it's already set in there by 5901. So all you would see if you turn it on here, well, this is kind of the setup. Listen on local host. Let's see, let me read the rest of it. Of course, you'd have to remember to go to 5901 instead of the default 5900, or all you'd see is the laptop screen. But put the port you want to listen on. Yeah, and in order for it to work, they're going to need to know which one you're using, you know. Of course, you're doing this for yourself, so you should know these if you're doing it, if you're setting it up here. Yeah, now your firewall might block. Now, luckily, there wasn't a firewall on in Rescatux, or else it would have blocked it. That's the first thing. Yeah, if you can't connect and it just says can't connect, check your firewall. In general, with VNC or anything that you're trying to connect, you know, SSH or whatever. You need to open the port if it's not already open. So it's already open here, or he doesn't have a firewall running, or whatever is going on here. I don't know. You can also set these additional parameters. You can do SSL encryption, but you'll need an SSL enabled VNC viewer. listen only on localhost and enable for an SSH tunnel. Okay. I don't know. I haven't messed with that, so I'm not quite sure exactly. Didn't say local network. It said local host. So, which would be the machine you're on. So, I don't know. Anyway. Enable Ultra VNC or Tight VNC file transfer. Oh, okay. You could do that. Now there's Enable SSH, and you just click a box here for all of that stuff. And the file transfer can be very useful. I have used it before. I don't know what's the difference between Ultra and Tight VNC. I am familiar with Tight VNC. I used to use it quite a bit. Server and viewer. Ultra, I don't remember whether or not I've used it. And we're using X11 VNC Server is what we're using. Now you don't have to use the same brand of viewer just as long as it's capable of connecting to it. So I'm using X11 VNC Server, and I'm viewing it with Vinegary. But I am familiar with Tight VNC. Tiger VNC is the one. Tiger VNC is a port of Tight VNC, and I think maybe Tight VNC hasn't been getting updated for a year or two or more. And Tiger VNC is actively being developed, and it's in the Fedora repos. So it might be in Debian too. I don't know, but anyway, yeah, the file transfer can be very useful. I'm gonna hit cancel on that. I don't want to do anything, but that's really just settings. That doesn't let you start VNC, so I guess you would still have to run. I forgot where it was. Oh, it's in no. It's in the internet section. Common UI setup. Common network configuration. Oh, okay. So yeah, that's if you don't really need. If you use that article, then you just do it that way. You don't really need to mess with this, obviously, unless you wanted to tell it to only serve up one monitor. That'd be a simple way to do that. That's pretty cool. Okay, so Departed. I like it so much I always have to show it a little bit whenever I'm in here. So when you open it up, it's I'm going to minimize my monitor settings because oops, that's not what I meant to do. I just want to minimize it. I don't like having so many things open, then it makes it confusing to me. So yeah, and I'm not going to use Rescap so I can minimize it again. It's taking a bit for things to happen, and probably have too many things open on this thing. What do we got here? Okay, there's Gparted. Rescap's not going up. There it goes. I don't need the web browser. I think I'm done with it, so I'm just going to close it. That's the thing that uses up all your resources. Let's see. Now I'm going to make that full screen just so it can be read better. Now this is Gparted Partition Editor. It's very powerful. You can just fix or destroy your system with it. And this is my hard drive that I set up. Now see, there's 20 megabytes. That's one of the reasons I opened it, of unallocated space. That's the trick. Then you start your, what I did was, instead of using the, I did this first in Gparted, and then you go in and use the Fedora or Debian installer. And so I knew what size I needed it, so I made me a 1 gigabyte ext4. That's what Fedora uses. And I did set up an LVM and stuff, but I ended up having to go into the custom setup and do this again for it to work right. But I was able to leave this where it was and just say, this is my boot partition. And then these I set up in the custom partitioning setup of the Fedora installer. Not sure what would happen if you was doing this with the Debian. It shouldn't be a whole lot different. And so, and that's now it should see my it should see what I'm booted to, my little USB stick. And you don't, of course, you don't want to. Well, I don't want to mess with any of it. That's not what I want to do right now. But I just thought I'd show that. But that's the trick right there for that may or may not, but I got lucky and it actually made that hard drive usable. For how long, I don't know. It could run a few years. It could die while I'm right now, you know. But the thing is, I knew that it didn't. It only had 117 bad sectors when I ran a hard drive tester inside a part of Magic in it on it. So I knew it wasn't all that bad. I've seen a lot worse, and I had them still working, you know, for several years. So even though it says it's failed its self-test, and Fedora server warns you, you know, your hard drive fails its self-test. It's so far so good. So now let's see, fast menu. Oh, okay, I didn't see that before. I'm not going to click on anything. 1 and 2 extended view, 1 unified view. Oh, okay. Now that I did not see in the other selections. That would be what unified view was, what every other distro calls, or application software setup, monitor setup, or display setup application calls mirroring. So if you did that, then you'd see the same thing on both screens. And since I've got it all working the way it is now, I'm not going to change it. But that is, and what it would do is not allow you probably to go. Okay, they're different sizes, different shapes. So you would have to. Usually, it ends up being 1024 by 768 is all you can do. The biggest you can do, which is a square. That's another thing. It doesn't, and things are kind of out of shape. So, you know, especially if you're going to use this for any amount of time, you might like it the way it is right now. And then, of course, this is remote desktop. That's why there's this paging back and forth. If you were just looking at it from your, you know, your monitor plugged into the machine, then if you're on the VGA, you'll see the VGA section of it, and if you're on the laptop, you'll see this laptop section side of it. So, and let's see, set position. Well, you could swap them to where, you know, the VGA is on the left. And when you're dragging things between monitors, like I haven't got into that. I've tried it a little bit here and there. For streaming, it'd be awesome because I could put my OBS Studio over on the laptop screen, but I don't have a laptop powerful enough. And leave it there, then I wouldn't have to show it to you every time I switch. You know, I could just go off screen and switch. It's not going over there. I guess because I have this open or something. Huh. Oh, maybe it's because of the view I have. I guess so. But anyway, and then, yeah, here's what I didn't show a while ago, the hertz. And it usually, you know, the app's usually pretty good at detecting the hertz, but this is at 1280 by 800. And then 1920 by 1080 is what my VGA is. And I made it the primary by using the drop-down list. I showed that a while ago. So, and there's the specs of my that monitor. And then on this one, let's see the specs of it. It doesn't detect everything on it. Okay, so I haven't closed it because I don't want to lose it in case I need it, or in case something was to go wonky or anything. So I've just been minimizing it. And this desktop theme, say it does that instead of. Now that'll go full screen, and I have no idea how you minimize it other than going down at the bottom and clicking on the little icon down there. I don't use that theme at all. I don't like it. But there's a lot of themes to choose from. You can definitely find one you like. And this seems to be the one that is the default in a lot of in Fedora as well. And I always change it right away to one that I like. But now this one has the minimize button, and it works. I don't know why that other one doesn't, and I really don't understand why the maximize is not functional. It'll roll up, or whatever they call it. I've tried to use that before. When I first saw it, I thought that's kind of cool. I'll use that, and I lost apps. I just could not get my mind accustomed to that, you know. But for some reason, this will not do full screen. So, but yeah, and again, if you're running an app inside the terminal, don't close that terminal. It'll kill the app. So that's why I like having. I don't know why it's not. See, when I go to the one, you can see there at the bottom left. There's 1 and 2. That should be the different. It's called workspaces. I always call it desktops without even thinking about it. It's not switching. What should happen is when you go to 2, whatever things you had in 2 should be in there, and whatever things you had in 1 should be in there. And that's how I tried to organize it. But it doesn't matter in here in this. Maybe that's how LXDE is. I don't know, but I haven't used it in a long time. Unattended notifications is what we got here. There's some notifications. Shortcut cannot be registered. Show desktop Control Alt D cannot be registered. I didn't remember hitting Control Alt D. I don't know. Maybe that's just something that is telling you that's not going to work. And there's one Conman system tray. There it is. Yeah, I looked in there a while ago, and that's how I found out my IP address. Okay. I think you can close. Well, those are things that are running, in the background. You can close it with the X without closing the app. And what's that? Removable media, and that would be my USB stick I'm running off of. And then show desktop, and then there's a power leave button or power down, or you can probably, well, some of them you can only shut down, some of them you can shut down and log out. I don't know what that one does, but okay, so trying to think. That's all the rambling I think I can do on this. That's really cool. I like that a lot. And since it's a live system, you don't have to worry about hurting anything. So I may power it down with the remote desktop, but what I was thinking is, can I show, let me get back on my machine for a minute. Oh, I'm on my machine. I'm just in full screen on the remote desktop. So yeah, let me go over here and look. If I have a combination, let's see, camera 2 and desktop. Well, that would just show this same thing basically. Camera 1 and desktop. There we go. So now you can kind of see the monitor. That really, I don't know. The last time I put my camera over there like that, it was not so crooked and not so far. Oh, I could make it closer. A little bit closer anyway. Anyway, it's usable. I'm going to leave it. But I think I will, as I'm going to show the shutdown on this broken screen just because I think it's kind of interesting. Let me get up there and move that camera a little closer while my browsers open up. And I'm going to go ahead and see, I can remote control these cameras with this little app here, or this. It has its own remote admin, and so what I can do is zoom in some. It's so crooked. Well, it would be a long drawn out process to make that any better there, but what I was wanting to do is, you can already see better just from me doing that. I want to darken it a little bit so that you can see better. Usually I don't have to go that dark. I think that all that super white really makes a big difference. Oh, there's a reflection in there. There's not a light to the right of that monitor. It's reflection off of something. I don't know what, but okay. Well, yeah, that's a good, makes a bit of a difference there. So. Now, if I have it on the camera on the monitor, and then I get back on, desktop and camera 1. Now, when I shut this down, I'm not going to bother to close the apps or anything because it's going to, it's a live system. It won't break any of the, it won't break any of these apps since it's live. If it was an installed system, I would close them all first. But I'm going to hit that power down button, and assuming it works, it may just be a bit slow to respond over the remote desktop. Now I see that my preview of my stream is, and one thing, preview of my stream was trying to reload and wasn't successful, looked like, so I'm going to make it reload, and that power down button may not be working. But my stream health is good and everything, and that's a nice thing. I think I'm going to say that an X11 VNC is pretty lightweight because I'm using Tiger VNC on my Fedora 28 system, the one I'm streaming from, and it uses a lot more resources for the same screen view, the same amount of resolution and everything. Just one monitor, not even two like this is. So it seems that the power down button doesn't work. Some reason. So let's just forget about that. Whoops, we don't go that far. We'll go over here to the, and there's a leave button. Okay, now there's the whole thing. Hibernate, leave, log out, reboot, shut down, suspend. So I want to shut down. And you'll be able to, of course, the instant we do that, we lose control. And maybe it'll freeze the screen. Looks like it's what it's going to do. But we should be able to see the system. What's actually going to be interesting now is the laptop screen, because we can see what I can see. This is what I get to see when I shut it down. I guess the shutdown worked. Usually you'll end up after a bit with, let me go back, one in desktop. Okay, we got the laptop and usually, oh, there it is. Yeah, see, it fooled me. It was still waiting on me to answer over here. So it came up on the laptop screen, and I didn't see it because, it's in the bad part of the laptop screen. So, and it won't move. You can't drag it around. So, luckily, I'm on remote desktop, or I never saw that, and I don't know how come I just paged over for some reason. So, I'm going to now click on shutdown. There we go. Yes, I really want to shut down the computer. All right, now it's going down right away, and my screen went straight to, you don't have a connection. Lost your connection, which sometimes they just freeze the screen. Sometimes it pops up and says you don't have a connection. So it's already shut down. It was real quick. I figured it would be. I was what's going on here? So yeah, there's all kinds of funny little things to pay attention to and to learn about using remote desktop. But it can be a lifesaver in a lot of ways. And it helps you make a video. But it can also be a lifesaver to fix broken machines. Oh, I see what that bright light. Now I can see what it is. It's my ceiling light. The ceiling light. My ceiling light, my ceiling vent, and it looks like, that's the silver thing. Rod is my mic stand, which is going up, mounted to my computer rack. So, let's go get that. Let me get that camera turned around. Okay, fun with allergies. Looks different. Oh, it's dark. Okay. We can fix that. Oh, that's why everything looks funny, because it's... Oh, I did it the wrong way. There. I knew things looked odd. Okay, now, not that that was all that important. Oh, now the aiming's way off. That's why I thought, why do I look so short? I have a marker that I use at the top of my guitar. That's my guitar sticking out of its little bag that has the zipper has come unsewn. It's not from a lot of use. It's sitting around all the time like that. But I used them. I did my intros and exits. I actually did on that guitar years ago, 10 or so years ago, and that's the best I've ever played. So, and I just playing around. That's what I played with my guitar. I never got to where I could play guitar. I used to sing and write lyrics, and well, I was talking about that in a previous video, but I have a website with my music, donsongs.com, that you can download for free if you want to. But but other people who are very talented played the music for me. But let's see. Okay, so that was cool. And really, I guess there's not anything else for me to say about it. I'm looking around on my computer to see if there's any other thing I'm forgetting. It feels like I always felt when anything goes this quickly. Well, I said 34 minutes. Oh yeah, that laptop starts. So it must be an hour and 34 minutes. Well, on here on OBS it says an hour and 32 minutes. So that's really inaccurate over there on the laptop. I hate when it starts doing that. It was right for a long time. But so yeah. So Adrian, thanks for that feature. Hopefully other people if you get a use out of that, I guess you're going to leave it in there. What I gathered you're planning on doing. That I can't even really right now think of all the different ways that could be helpful, but being able to get to the monitor settings like that, especially when you're doing laptops, and you may have a broken screen, or just maybe there's just all kinds of reasons why that's really helpful. So that's cool. So I'm looking forward to the the new release. I have no idea when I don't know if Adrian well, I don't know if he has a timeline in his mind or not. We didn't discuss that, but probably when he'll get it done when he can get it done. I'm gonna guess. He may have a timeline set. I don't know. We just, like I said, we didn't say. I didn't think to even ask. But that's going to be a cool feature. So yeah, check out Rescatux, Super Grub Disk, and Rescatux if you have trouble with your computer not booting. It can Rescatux can fix broken boot for Grub and for most Windows. Can't remember. You have to go on the website and see. I think it does all the way up to Windows 10, and Super Grub Disk can get you booted up in like an emergency, and then you can get back into your system and you can repair it from within your operating system, or you can just, if you just need the files, you can get them and then reformat or whatever. So got two ways to go there. I've used them both for years. I don't remember how many years. So they can really be a lifesaver. It's a lot easier than, your other options with Grub is the rescue terminal in Grub, or the rescue terminal in Fedora or Debian or whatever. you're going to be doing some learning unless you're already in a, you already know what. If you already know what to do, maybe that's what you would do. But if you don't, you're like most people, then you're going to have some learning curve and some real searching to find the commands to do whatever it is you're needing to do, and to find out what commands you would need to run. But so this is all in a nice package that can really help you out. So I'm going to go move on to other computers I've been working on. I've got a whole list of things. So, and I've been for the last several days. I was sidetracked on my new HP server that I got, new use HP server, and I want to go back to playing with that. But I have other things I really need to do as well. So I guess I'll figure out what it is I need to do most next and do that. But okay, we'll talk to you later. Bye bye.